go.
Yo, wake the farm up.
Are we recording? Okay.
Hey, everybody. We're down here.
We're here. Do the pink button.
Yo. Yeah. We're cutting it down.
Here we are.
Wheat pad.
Yo, wake the farm up. Yo, wake the farm up.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Just got here. Hey.
Hello.
We're getting it down with Cat West.
We're here.
Yeah, we're in the
here.
north, south, east, and the west. What's up,
Every
Cat?
direction coming to you, into your ears.
Yeah. So wiggle your ears. You're, just joined into a wonderful conversation. We've been cutting it up here at the Elfstead, talking about all the ins and outs of comedy and human life and sociology and,
Everything.
it was like really serious. So I feel like we should get sillier or something. But
We should. That's my constant struggle.
yeah, but
is
we
to bring
should.
the silliness.
We should, but let's just do whatever we want,
Yeah. I think that's
So.
usually the best way to go at it.
So how was it driving west?
It was really nice. I love a drive. Again, there's just something about just the car and also the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to convince people to just listen to the radio.
Like surf through and like when you.
Not surf, but scan. The scan function. Like it just plays each radio station like 6 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is comedy. It's amazing. Like you just never know what's going to happen. And it changes by where you're at, which radio stations pick up. It's so much fun.
That's so fun.
You just go for
the
a long
scan
drive
time.
and you're like, what's going to happen? Who knows? And then some song you haven't thought about in like 10 years comes on. You're like, oh my gosh.
Do you, like when you find one that you want to listen to longer, do you stop it or do you allow the scan function?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, we got to stop for this one. Yeah. And then sometimes I'm like, all right, I wanted to be reminded of that song's existence, but I'm not ready to like commit. So let's keep scanning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like the attention span that we have, with like TikToks or like
Exactly.
stories on social media. It's like you hear 6 seconds and then it moves to the next cut.
Exactly. Yeah. I was thinking about how really it's just like real time ADHD. Like it's just my brain is so happy with that because it's about as much time as I want to spend on something. And then it just keeps my brain rolling and excited.
Yeah. Rolling to the next little meme that the radio spits out.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you just like hear some Christian talk radio and you're like, wow, okay. And you hear an ad and then you hear just amazing music.
Like all of a sudden the guy's like, pulling out that deep guttural country voice like, I left her on the train.
No, literally as I was driving down the street to get here, it's super foggy. This very slow, like old country song with this woman singer came on and I was like,
Yeah,
this is
hit,
the road.
hit that one for a bit.
Let's listen.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Extend a moment button.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, okay, I'll participate.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things I mentioned it earlier about comedy, but I know you've been showing up for a lot of open mics and you're starting to work in different realms of, having fun. Is that part of your outlet of creative expression and, growing yourself and
getting on mics like this one right here, just being willing to like get out there and just like try to put my voice out there. That was my initial, like, that's what was prompting me. I was like, okay, let's just like, you got to get on the mic and just like start sharing what's your voice and like figuring that out. And comedy, like poetry was where I first started doing that. And poetry is really cool because you can just like totally be yourself.
Yeah.
With comedy, it's different, but it lets you like kind of go into like feeling less performative and like being more real. I don't know. It's a hard line to tread and I'm still learning. So.
Yeah. I do love poetry and there's almost even something like you can like invoke a certain space like really quickly with words. And when you learn how to do that, I guess with comedy, the idea would be to ultimately you could do a piece of poetry, but how does it end in a way that tickles you? Or,
Yeah. I mean, and like most of my poems, I try to bring it around full circle. Like, wherever it goes, however dark it goes, it comes back to something that's simple. That like a lot of my stuff and jokes are the same. Like I try to start off with something silly and then bring it back around. Like even if I go somewhere dark, like bringing it back down, like to the silly premise, like wherever we started.
Yeah.
Which is it's so much harder to do in comedy. It's so much harder. in the moment to be like, oh yeah, I remember, even though you just brought that sad, it's still silly. Like, let's bring it back to the, yeah.
Yeah. And there's somebody that'll not think it's funny somewhere. And, so how do you flow with that for yourself when you feel like you just bombed to a room? It was the wrong room, a different room. Maybe the joke would have landed or something.
Yeah. No, I don't know. That's something when I first started comedy, I was like, I didn't care if people laughed. Like, I really didn't. And so now I've been like, obviously that is the intent, but like, I don't take it personally when people don't laugh, which is, I've realized, is an advantage that I have, because it is really easy to take it personally. Like, you guys didn't like me, or like, I did it. Like, but ultimately it's like, oh man, I just didn't say that funny enough for you guys. Yeah. I just actually like that joke I didn't make it work for you. Like, because especially at an open mic, you can see where like the room's laughing for other people.
Right,
like,
right.
Before and after you, like, they'll laugh. So what's
quiet.
the common denominator here? Like, it was probably
maybe they were just tired from earlier laughing.
They were really tired during that 5-minute segment in time. Like,
yeah, and your voice is pretty relaxing. Maybe they're all just okay, the nurse is here.
Yeah, I do. Like, so I try. I don't know. I don't bring the nursey voice to comedy. I come off more as like a less sweet and more just kind of like, I don't bring out that like sweet side of me, and it's hard to figure out how to bring it out in comedy. But like, I come off a lot harsher in comedy.
Yeah,
than I do in like social situations. I'm like much nicer than I think a lot of people think I would be based on like the stage presence that I bring for comedy.
Well, I hope you start getting a little harsh here on the mic. You can get harsh with me, you whatever you need to do.
No, it's when I'm talking to like people and I'm talking about stuff. But when I'm talking to like one person, or like just like people in a like, I'm never like, I have to get on my, I'm not, it's just like a human moment.
That's what kind of bring the humor to it, because you are a sweet person when you do something in a mic performative way that sounds harsh. It'll land a little tickle spot.
Yeah, it creates some dissonance for me for sure. That's actually a really good.
I like that
point. Yeah. So it's been again. We were talking about it earlier, but comedy just like forces you to self-reflect in a really painful way. Like when you are trying to think about like what's funny or like what's real or like what just made them laugh. Oh man, that wasn't what was supposed to make them laugh. Like, but that's still a good thing. But like, it didn't make me feel good. That's something I have to sit with now,
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's a really cool way to like, because poetry can feel just like performative, where you're kind of just like forcing people to take it, and like no matter what, like it's harder to bomb, right? Like you kind of can't bomb when you're just sharing your poetry.
Right.
Like unless somebody's an asshole, like, but if you can absolutely bomb in comedy and still be like a nice person, and then people just pity you.
And they kind of grin like, yeah, that poor chap.
They're just like smiling up at you like, oh, and they pity you.
Brave. You're so brave.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Can you believe can I buy you a drink? You're so brave.
I know. I've definitely had some pity compliments where I'm like, I did bad tonight. Like you are literally just like, I don't believe you. It's just because you pity me and I'm a young girl.
Yeah.
That's why you're saying that.
Like I was pitying you. That's why I was like, I need have you on my show.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I've just sunk into it. I'm like, give me the pity points. That's fine. If it gets me free beer, pity me. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any free beer. I actually charge for it here.
Or on a podcast. If it gets me on a podcast or free beer, it's okay. I'll take some pity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really am pitying you right now. No, we don't need a pity party too long,
No. I'm trying not to do that. Yeah. So like, again, it really is like when people pity me, I'm like, no, I'm going to get worse now. Yeah, I'm going to make myself so unpitiable. Oh, I'm going to fight you because you pity me. And that's normally not what they're trying to do, but it's still like, if you pity me, I'm like, I could make it worse. I could make it way. Wow. You're surprised by this? You feel bad? Oh, I could make you feel worse.
That's an amazing technique. It's like
it's not healthy.
Wow. It's not what you suggest in the realm of like a self-help situation.
Yeah, I would not be writing this down and giving this as advice, but it is the thing that I notice that I do. Like for me, like food, and I have a lot of jokes about food and eating and just about how it's hard. And like for me, it's not like an eating disorder thing. It's not a body image thing. It's just depression. And it's like a sensory issues too, where like eating food is difficult for me sometimes. Like it's just really hard for me to just get past my head swirling and just put food in my body. And people will pity me for that and being like, oh, you're too sad to eat. I'm like, okay.
Is that what? Wait, what? Like, so it's not just because like you're looking at like the macaroni and cheese and the noodles all of a sudden
like,
are weird texturally and you just don't feel like that's what you want to eat.
Yeah, it's also ADHD, whatever, brain fog, like the idea of having to go through so many steps to create a meal. Well, just thinking about it, even if I'm hungry, I want to eat, I'm excited to eat, but like that's like 20 minutes and that's so many steps and like
I want to eat now.
I want to eat, and I also like it's just really hard to like put forth all the effort towards those steps, and then by that time the food is ready. I've had like a few bites of it throughout, and then I'm like, I don't really even want to eat anymore. I'm just like, ugh, okay, and I'm eating out of like not from like joy because I really want to. It's because I'm like, I have to. You have to eat or you die. That's what happens. Everybody needs to eat. You gotta do it. And like, that's how I look at food. Like, and some people it makes them sad, but I'm like, it's just for me. It's always been like this, like necessary to survive. It's like survival. Food is survival. So yeah, I've been working on a joke about how like food is my love language.
Food, like if people give you food, that means they love you.
Because they're literally helping me survive.
Okay.
Like I'm like, if you give me a cooked meal, oh my God, I will remember that for the rest of my life because I'm like, I needed it and I wasn't going to make it.
Right.
Was I going to make a full fucking hot meal for myself? No, I was going to eat Cheez-Its again. And now I got food. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, that's my, like, I'm like
you might have got fancy like Cheez-Its with like a little salad dressing or something.
Yeah. Or maybe like I ate some, this is just too savage. Like maybe I ate some applesauce too. Like, hey, there we go. We got some stuff. Yeah. We got it.
It's that food like, pyramid thing.
Yeah,
right?
but like, I don't know. It's just so hard to like cook as a single person when you are experiencing like depression. It's like just the actuality of being a single person and trying to cook is hard in society, but you add being depressed and it's like, fuck it. Oh, Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
And all of a sudden you're not depressed though, because you got Cheez-Its. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, it could even be an off-brand, but if you got a little crunchy cheese thing like that.
I don't eat name brand Cheez-Its anymore. Yeah. No, we go Clancy's.
Yeah.
Cheese crackers.
I love that. Yeah. But yeah, food preparation, it's an interesting concept, you know, on the serious side of Wake the Farm Up, you know, we often talk about how like we have gotten ourselves to a point click mode of like Uber delivery me is like my best friend or something, you know, because like it'll be there, you know, at a reliable time and it'll be hot still, hopefully.
We're super disconnected from like where our food comes. And I think that's part of it too, is that like going to the grocery store doesn't inspire joy in me. It's just like, what do I need to get so that I can have enough healthy meals that I don't feel like shit, you know? And it's instead of like, I've had a garden before in the past, you know, and having that joy of like, I grew this tomato.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God, it's so good. Yeah. I can't wait to eat that tomato at its peak ripeness. Versus now I'm buying a tomato at the store. I'm like, how far away did it go? How far is it from its home?
Like, how many children got paid like it's
just like there's some darkness in that, and I can't help but be like, I'm aware of that, and like, yeah, I'll eat the tomatoes, but like, yeah, there's not as much joy in food now in a lot of the ways that we eat and consume in many things. It's like, yeah, this is just part of the machine. Ugh. I'm feeding the machine, feeding myself. You know, like it's easy to go in that frame of mind too. Like, oh, I'm eating a bunch of processed food and like. But for me, I had to literally take away the morals from food to get myself to eat. So I was like, if you got to eat Cheez-Its for dinner, like, that's okay. That's totally okay. If that's what you got to do tonight so that you can get food in your body, girl, that's okay. That's girl dinner.
So the elf over here, I would like encourage you to go out, like, especially at wintertime, and pick some like wild onion grass. That's what we like to call it around, you know, the area.
Well, what
here.
am I going to do with it? You know, like,
you eat them with Cheez-Its. Step one, and then all of a sudden the Cheez-Its are like a whole new
actually
flavor.
Make me do it. That actually is so simple that it makes it possible. A lot of times when people talk about like making these big changes or shifts towards like not relying on systems, it seems really unattainable. You know, it's really easy to be like, well, I could never do that. Something I've been wanting to get into is canning. Like, I think that would be really cool. Like, to be able and just kind of, you know, be able to get a couple stuff, stock up and be like, I made this sauce, you know, but like not having to go through the thing of making the sauce once a week. Oh my God, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you just do it one time and you make like 60 jars.
Once a year and just, I mean, that's how I do food. Like, I make a huge batch of something once a week and then I survive on that like a little peasant girl. And I eat my little toasts and all my little things in between. But I'm like, okay, we got the bulk. We got the big pot of chili. Cool.
Yeah. Maybe one morning I'll mix the chili in with some eggs and have chili eggs. You know, just to make them different that week.
Nope, I got sensory issues. That would stress me. That stressed me out. Imagine it, because I eat eggs for breakfast. That's one of my safe foods. Like eggs on toast, boom, there you go. Like amazing. But chili eggs.
Yeah, I've never done that, but you know, I've done honestly, a lot of leftovers in eggs.
It doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound bad though. Maybe I'll be brave enough to try chili eggs this week. I have chili.
I bet there's people in Cincinnati that'll have chili eggs on noodles.
We are in this chili. You know. Well, we're not. We're in Indiana.
Yeah, but, this is Hoosier land here. Yeah.
Okay, well, I live in the chili capital. I'm wondering how it would be to have Skyline on eggs.
It'd be pretty chill, I bet.
I honestly, Skyline's one of those things you can like put it on anything, anytime, anything really. I'll eat Skyline all the time. It's one of my it's a safe food for me.
Yeah. So for me, the art of talking with people got really intriguing, and comedy realms got really intriguing after doing farmers markets for 13 years. And I'm not like. Here's, I don't know, just like an example. Commonly, I would convince people to buy salad greens. Why? They're faster than making ramen noodles. You take them out of your little bag that you got from the farmer's market, or you cut with some scissors out in the garden, throw it in a bowl, pour salad dressing, ready to eat.
Yeah.
Throw some Cheez-Its on top for texture.
That actually, a Cheez-It salad actually doesn't sound bad. I'll just put cheese. I will put Cheez-Its in chili. I did that the other night. I just sprinkled some cheese. Yeah, it was really good. Makes sense. I like some crunchy. I like.
Have
crunchy
you ever had
foods.
the bunnies, the cheese bunnies?
No.
They're kind of like Cheez-Its or somewhere between Cheez-Its and the goldfish, but they're in the shape of bunnies. And they're organic.
Oh, okay.
I've never talked about a product so much, but Cheez-Its is totally funny. Like,
yeah, this is the Cheez-Its episode for sure. Yeah.
Cheez-It. Yeah.
Cheez-Its and permaculture.
You know,
what is Cheez-Its' place in permaculture?
Well, I'd say Cheez-Its' place in permaculture for me really comes from like an ancestral background where I know my father spent a bit of time watching Star Trek in the 90s eating Cheez-Its. That was like one of the common spots I would catch him. And he's definitely somebody that inspired permaculture growth in me. His career work was in air pollution and atmospheric scientist stuff, you know. So I've been hearing about climate change before it was called global warming, before it was called what they called it before that, you know. Like things were changing and happening, you know, which is what we're still saying, but we like to give it little names and hashtags.
But it was really the Cheez-Its.
It was the Cheez-Its. Like, I mean, he's watching Star Trek. They're using really incredible language, you know, like, Stardate 2024. We're down here at the elf planet of Klutar. There's plenty of signs of life. We can tell by all the dancing and disco music radiating from the planet. And things are going pretty good. So, you know, we're picking up a frequency. I can't help it. There's
the frequency coming through. What are we going to do? Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that was some Cheez-It, like total spillover.
Yeah, into dad.
Great. So yeah, that's how permaculture got going for me. You know,
that's awesome.
That and cookies. Cookies are very important, and like you're saying, a lot of times I'll make cookies. I make from scratch cookies, like when I'm hanging out by myself. You know, you know, when you have those kind of depressing, lonely nights, you know, you just want to make some cookies.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
you
Baking is one of my cures for depression. Yeah.
mashing just like the butter and all the things.
We're going to make something good and I'm going to enjoy it. Like, yeah, because with cooking, by the time I'm done doing it, I'm like, ugh, eating this whole thing is just another like task on the list of tasks. Whereas eating cookies, sweets, it's like, oh no, that's what all this was for. And like the whole time you're making it, you're like, you can't wait for how good this is going to be. We're going to heat up the oven. It's going to be so good. And then you're like,
and then they're done.
there.
They're there, but you don't even want any more because you're full from eating the cookie dough because it's so good. That's what happens to me.
Yeah, I was going to say the true depression thing is just a tube of cookie dough. And then the step above that for me is the mug brownie. I don't know if you've ever...
mug brownie?
The mug brownie, yeah.
Wow.
So, okay, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to put you on this. It's like a cup and a half of flour.
What?
A quarter cup of sugar. I mean, you could probably add some, I don't know if you can make this permaculture, and then you just baking powder. I put some peanut butter in there, some chocolate chips.
That sounds like...
Bacon and cocoa powder, obviously. Yeah.
That sounds like
and then
a
you
good
just
base
microwave
to
it.
throw it in there.
Microwave it in the oven. Yeah.
In
There are
your-
a couple
in your
things I
cup.
missed. You can look it up. You
can microwave it in your cup, and then there'll be a brownie in
and
your
it's just
cup.
you just have a mug. Yeah, and then you just have your mug brownie.
Wow.
It's really
so
great.
if you wanted to do it in like a regular oven, you would need a special...
Probably.
mug,
yeah,
I
this
guess.
is only for microwave. Yeah. You don't have a microwave, do you?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, man. Yep, that's That's how you really know, though. That's how you really know.
That's how you know
when
what?
people don't have a microwave.
What do you know? What do you know?
Like, just that they've divested from systems. Mm-hmm. Like, that you can just, like, when somebody's like, I don't have a TV or I don't have a microwave. But, like, TV, not as much. TV can be more, like, ego-y. You don't know if they're, like, a douchebag. You know, if somebody's like, I don't have a TV anymore. Like,
well, there's
there's a way that people say, but like when somebody doesn't have a microwave, it's like I've gone through periods where I haven't had one. I'm like, yeah, no, I feel better doing this on the stove. Like I feel better doing this, like baking this and it does feel better. But the ease of the microwave for the depressed person, oh my God. Sorry, you can't do the mug. You can't do the microwave mug thing.
You like just see the
only
food,
for these listeners.
The food's just like on one of those like Austin Powers
You're like,
style
aren't we all
beds, just circling,
on this
looking at you.
Circle, just going around and around.
Yeah.
With just radiation pulsing through us constantly. Ding ding.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's
but
so
I have
much
my
fun. There's so much fun radiation to like feel and experience anymore. I'm honestly in this place where I've heard people tell me about how much plastic there is in the world and how we eat a credit card worth of plastic every week. So every Monday morning, I just cut up a credit card and eat
just
it.
eat it.
Just
Just
get it
get it
done
out of the
with.
way. Yeah, you just get
You
your.
know?
Then you're like, oh, I got so many more credit cards than you
Yeah.
think inside of me.
Yeah, I got
You have
higher credit.
Yeah, you have no idea how much credit cards I have inside of me. Somebody said a joke about the microplastics being assembled into a credit card and stealing someone's identity. I can't remember who it was.
Wow.
It's a funny concept, but yeah, no, that's a funnier concept. You just eat it. You just eat a credit card every
Right.
week, just and like then you're covered.
Yeah, it's good to remember the code of the credit card while it's going through. You know, you kind of can, connect to some of that, but you don't want anything to get blocked.
Do you eat the chips too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
of
crunchiest.
course. Yeah. Of course.
You know,
You gotta eat the chips.
I like them with a little ranch dressing,
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's like one of the fascinating ones I heard. There's a person creating a microplastic filter that comes out of your house's drainage because every time you wash your laundry, you got some little pieces of plastic coming off of poly
That makes total
clothing.
sense. Yeah, for
It
sure.
goes into the water system.
Yeah.
And, that's why it's everywhere. And I don't know, for me, like, it's like, do I want to spend the next part of my life like really freaking out about that?
Yeah, it's just I literally had to let go of a lot of things that I was like. I was telling somebody else we were talking about climate change, and I was like literally just existing. It was another nurse, and we were talking about moral injury and just how like having to be somebody who's like doing something that you kind of know is bad, but you have to do it anyways. Like within the healthcare system can get dark, but like we were talking about climate change, and I was like even just existing can feel like a morally injurious thing. Like I shouldn't be consuming water. I shouldn't, the world is burning and I'm going to work, or I'm like going out to the bar. Like, there's all these things that I should be worrying about. And like, I literally, I used to do that way more and let my head get all like, what am I doing wrong? How many better things should I be doing right now? Like,
Yeah.
It's just, I'm too tired to try and be like, again, my New Year's resolution is to be no better.
Yeah.
To like maybe even get a little worse, but be nice to myself. That's the underlying things. Like, okay, but it's going to ultimately, I'm going to be better at the end. But it's a way that I frame it. Like, you don't have to be any better. It's okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Even though all of those things are still true, that like we need to be consuming less and all these things, but it's like, okay, it's not up to you. Mm-hmm. And it is like, I don't know. It's hard to talk, like thinking about like putting filters on your house to like filter out the microplastics.
As it's going out. Yeah.
But like, can we like, I think there's better uses of the energy where it's like, how can we dismantle what the systems are doing to create some of these problems, but that's like such a harder thing to tackle than like being like, we're just gonna make sure my house is like, as it's just so
I want my house to have clean water. Who cares if the river's dirty?
Exactly. Yeah.
Good luck, you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
I've got special filters on my portion of the stream that passes through my land. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, you want to buy a bottle?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can just get disheartening to look out and like see that that's the way that a lot of things run. But like,
and that's how people think. Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to look at. Are we going to freak out about like things like the plastics and heavy metals in our soil and then not engage ourselves into our local environments anymore and just keep ourselves in little contained sterilized units
exactly
and ship food in from places that have been advertised to us that they're clean and stable? I don't know.
Yeah, it's easy to be like, well, it's bad out there, and like we're just going to make it good in here, and not like engage with the communities or engage within like, okay, so let's see that it's bad, but like we can change it, like there are things that like can be done.
Yeah.
Not with everything, not always.
There's little loopholes like I found along the way, like cilantro, and there's other herbs that help remove heavy metals from your body. And when I put that to mind, it made me just like more comfortable foraging, even in an urban area. I'm taking on the karma of our times and feeling it. Yeah, I could store it up in my body and get really sick, or I could continue to just like not worry about it because I'm eating cilantro enough or occasionally enough, or when I am, I'm thinking like, yeah, that's taking all that stuff out. I got room for more now. It's like, I could put another credit card of plastic in. Like, it's like I'm a slide reader, it goes, slides through. It's like the old slide readers for credit cards. Like,
I'm too tired to doom and gloom it, in regards to like, there are just so many things that are necessary by virtue of living in the society that I'm like, I could be really mad about this or be like really worried, but
yeah.
Well, we can't do nothing about it.
Let's I want to explore. Let's try to be mad about it for like a few minutes. Just
okay. Yeah.
I'm really mad that cows fart. I'm so mad that cows fart. But I still want to get a roast beef sandwich, or something. It's like if they need a fart, I guess it's okay. So it's cool. No, I want to be mad about it.
No, yeah. I could be mad that we take their babies away. We eat them. But they do make real good milk, though.
Yeah, I'm mad that they put milk in bottles. We should be allowed to just have cows walking around and just drink right off the top.
Free the teat.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Free the cow teats on the streets.
I want it straight from the source.
Yeah. I want goats out there too, so we can have like different kinds. And
that way I know it's real.
Yeah.
I don't know it's real unless I suck it straight from the teat.
Yeah. And if there's gonna be heavy metal in the soil, I want these cows and goats to be able to hear heavy metal music too. It's only fair.
Heavy metal must be blasting while I consume my heavy metals. Yeah, talk about rage. I really, over the past year, I never was into heavy, like hardcore music or metal music before, but I discovered, like, I started going to free shows in Cincinnati. Like, anywhere I could find a mic or a free show, I was going out. I was, like, sad and alone and, like, new to a place. So I was like, and I found heavy shows and hardcore, whatever, heavy metal, all the different dum, 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 and like,
I mean,
and it just the amount of everybody there knows rage, and you can just like rage out and just like it's the music is not designed to make you feel better or happy. It's just to like share rage, and so it's really fun. I love it.
it's like kind of like a
Yeah, everybody there is just like, we also feel this mad sometimes. Fuck
we
the world. Like it's like,
you
yeah.
just like I can't take it anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's get together and be like,
And just rage out together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So, yeah,
There's not a lot of community spaces where you can share rage.
so if you had goats and cows and stuff like there where you could just like get direct source milk and stuff, you could rage for days and days without having to stop and go back home where people are telling you that you should eat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you ask,
I love how you like my self-help suggestions. I know we've talked before where you're not like so big on the self-help stuff, but I'm helping you get worse.
but you're not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're not coming at from a like. I hate when people pity me and then try to give me self-help advice. I'm like, that's not. I don't know. You're just like trying to make yourself feel better because I made you feel bad.
Yeah.
Maybe you could try like going outside sometime or something. I'm like, okay, I could. Like, it's just like. Yeah, it can be hard, but yeah, no, I receive it. It's coming from a fun place. It's coming from a place of like mutual uplifting, and there's a different energy like that you can feel when somebody's giving you advice because they're like, "Please stop making me uncomfortable." Like that's a heavy. Maybe you should try this.
I do think that the elves wake the farm up, all of the creatures in the pod squad and peoples that are involved in it are going to be here to help and support and encourage you to be the worst comedian you could ever become.
I'm going to get so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to be so bad. Before you know it, you're going to look at me and be like, damn.
No, for real though. Have you, like, here's something for you all to do. Type into Google or whatever you use for a search engine, like if you're, have one of the cool alternative ones and type in the world's poorest person. See who comes up. I tell you, last time I looked, it was a dude on a yacht and he was like in debt, like 60 something $trillion.
Oh,
He's
yeah. I don't
the
think about the
worst.
negatives.
He's the worst. And you should have seen the sunglasses he had though. He didn't even pay for them yet, but he's got them.
Interesting. That's an interesting way to think about money. That you can be rich enough to be way poorer than a lot of poor people because they can only get to zero. But you could get to negative trillions.
Yeah. Just like a few wrong moves. And it's like, boom, you're in negative trillions.
But he's still on a yacht.
Yeah,
Come on.
thanks for the suggestion, Dad, on the NASDAQ.
Unless
I got a yacht. Thanks.
unless the yacht's just like drifting and he's a pantry full of canned goods, I think he's still doing better than he should.
Yeah.
Is the yacht
it's probably-
staffed? Is the yacht fueled?
That's probably the thing. It might not be fueled anymore, but maybe he got a new credit card. He's just going through them every week. He maxes them out, then eats them.
Just going harbor to harbor, running his schemes, and then turning around, going to the next harbor,
Right.
seeing who will believe him because he's a yacht owner.
I mean, when people first look at his paperwork and they see money in the trillions, they don't even see that little line, that little dash. They think
you
it's
don't
a
think
dash.
to look for. Yeah, you don't think to look
Right.
for the negative sign.
Right. They think
can just
it's in red. They
fool
think it's a
people.
sale.
Wow.
It's special. This guy just rolled into, he's got trillions. Yeah, let's fill him up on credit. He'll pay us back twice. What? That's cool. He said that.
Yeah, you can't have a yacht like that and not have money. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he's got all kinds of people on there. Like he's probably
It's
got
just
students.
him.
I wonder
It's
if he's got
just
students.
him.
I want to interview this guy. I wonder if we can
Find
call
him.
him.
I mean,
Do you
I
have
think
his number?
no, I don't know who this man is.
I'm going to have to find his
You're gonna
number.
have to look him up.
Yeah,
Invite him on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's goals. If we don't get that, we're doing worse.
I
and
mean,
that's
again,
awesome. That's awesome.
if you're gonna fail hard.
Right,
Like
right.
really go for it.
Go
like,
for a
and that's what-
trillion.
Yeah, go. You could get accrue more debt, sir.
Right.
Keep going. At this point, why would you stop?
Maybe he's hard to find to talk to.
Probably, I doubt you'll be able to find him. I'm sure he is very good at evading
I mean,
any attempts of contact.
if there was a way that he could hear this show, if any audience members know him, please let them hear this show. We have nothing but utmost
We
respect.
will inform none of the creditors. You can just come hang. We'll just talk.
We want to make sure
no one will be coming for you at the end.
nothing.
Yeah, it will be recorded.
No one will break your record either of how poor you are. We want.
And we're
going to
encourage you to keep going so that no one ever beats your record.
Right.
We will only support you. We're not here to intervene and try to make you change your ways. No, get worse. Keep getting in debt.
Like,
you know,
teach us what comes after trillions. I can't even think about.
I have no idea.
Like Brazilians.
I have no idea.
Or something.
I'm sure if you've played with the trillions, you probably played with some Brazilians.
Yeah. There's
In either direction.
There's totally a
minus.
trill to that. That's.
Oh, this has been fun.
So you're Brazilian?
No. I am the most German in the world. Yep. Good attempt.
Dunkenstein.
Sure.
Dunkin' Doodle. Pretzel.
I am incredibly only white and German. Yeah. On both sides, mostly.
All right, check
just
this out.
German.
Just for taking things out of the microwave kind of zone, and just it's good to know who we are, where we come from. It's good to be present, and it's good to have fun, contributing to where we're going. The word German came from a guy named Germanicus who was killing what is now known as the German tribes. But back then they were called barbarians and barbaric, and they're, that they got named the Germans after the guy that was killing them. That's just weird. And we're content with that right now. I'm not totally content with it, but I'm still, I got a bit of German for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I looked into I didn't do any kind of DNA test or anything, but I looked into my lineage and following the names back as far as I could on Ancestry. And most of the, Germans are a lot, we're pagans. I very much,
Yeah, we'll pay every time. We'll pay again. We'll pay twice. We'll subscribe.
That's also true. We have that deeply embedded shame. We are so sorry for existing. But yeah, ultimately, a lot of German names, they were
worse, though.
Pre-Roman pagans. And then, everybody came through and they were no, Christianity. But pre-Christianity, a lot of people in Europe were pagan indigenous people to those places.
I know
worshipping trees.
They were worshiping trees. There was women in their cultures who they built special towers for, who never spoke with anybody. They spent most of their time in caves on top of mountains and forests, wherever they wanted. But occasionally it was very common that they would come up onto a mic that was specially made for them that was 60 feet high, and they would orate from the top of these towers and share what they saw, visions, and that was very hard for these cultures that were coming up, and they would call that barbaric. These people that knew the plants and medicines on their lands, and yeah.
I mean, it's happened in every part of the world. It's just, white people had it done to them so long ago that they forgot that they're they're not a united front. They all if you go deeply back in history, it's just a bunch of people just using power to assert it over others and make them believe whatever, they wanted them to believe.
Right. Because there's in my opinion, there's a disconnection from nature that happens along the way. When you disconnect your people from the land that they've existed on and adapted from and evolved with, and Greek food, think about it, it's all food that comes from where they lived, and there's a culture that came up from it, and that's how all these cultural foods are. And that's how when you separate people from nature, you kind of separate them from their own nature, and then you just get that, hey, how are you? I'm good. You basically just had hey, I don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about you. And it's, that disconnect, nature, and the more people are intentionally trying to rekindle that, I feel like there's actually more authentic connections start to happen between the people too, because we're animals. We're creatures of this earth, That's funny and serious all at the same time to me.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. So I think full circle, if there are any German citizens listening out, I would like to return to I need to go back to where I came from. You need to get back in my beach forest.
Dustin to
if you're willing to, like, I actually, you have universal health care there. I would so like to return to Germany. Please take me back.
Yeah, can we get that health care?
We just need to go back to it. But truly, I mean, I do think that I would love to, like, see, you know, kind of, it's really hard to do in America. If you're somebody who's, like, you know, aware of all of the atrocities or all around you, it's like, where am I? It's hard to find a place, you know, and to be like, I belong here, you know? And it's easy to get into that feeling of like not belonging anywhere and like being disconnected from that, you know,
right,
animal nature of like belonging on earth in a general sense, you know. But part of that, I think, is being able to see like that's where I came from. That's what there's this reverence within that, you know, that I think a lot of people have lost. Like I love the word reverence. I love just the idea of bringing reverence into like everyday things and like into just existing, like making little moments. Like, oh, that matters. Oh, cool. Yeah. Like it matters that I remember things like, and that I like give that value, you know, instead of being like, nothing matters, you know? And like, that's that energy of like, how are you doing? I'm all right. Whatever, you know, instead of like, hey, how are you doing? You know, there's this different reverence to that. Like,
I feel like there's even a place like, I don't know, just the way you said all that, the way my brain, it took me right back into the heavy metal concert where there was that kind of like, a respectful, hey, fuck you all. Let's like hang out with that vibe together. But there's a connection in it too, you know?
Yeah.
There is a place for every one of these emotions, you know? But yeah, I feel that disconnect from nature that's gone really huge in the world all around has really infected our connection to each other. And that's
for
definitely
sure.
when you surf down the avenues of why there's problems in the world that usually come back to that at some point. You know,
disconnection. I think, that's really truly like, I think the source of anything that you could identify within the world. It's like, you know, just like not being willing to look at that as something, whatever it is, as something that's real and being able to hold space for like, holy shit, that's bad. And being able to like acknowledge that and hold that. And that's, with anything from like food to like the dairy. I mean, what, like literally you could talk about anything. You can talk about genocide. It's like, are you willing to like sit with that? Are you willing to be like, I'll contain that heavy feeling? And if you're not, then you disconnect from it.
Right.
And it's really easy to like want to disconnect because there's so many things all around that are all like, I want to disconnect all the time, you know, and I have to force myself, but also allow myself to disconnect sometimes. But like, connection is the cure. I do truly believe that.
Yeah, keep connecting. And, you know, that's one of those realms where getting worse at some things will make you better at that.
Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Like I'm not trying to be good. And by not trying to do something well, I'm able to actually be present within the process of trying to do it. Not always, but like that's, you know, when I'm not actively like, I have to be funny. I have to tell the jokes a good, real funny time. Good funny girl, duh. And then it's
did 2 bad jokes. Now I need to get like
now I'm like swirly in my
ones.
head, you know, versus being like, oh, it's okay if I do a bad job. And then it opens up like with comedy, I can like then kind of be present with that moment with the audience and be like, oh, too sad, eh? And then I, you know, then I don't internalize it. I don't take it on, and I'm not like, oh, I was just so sad. I'm always sad. I always make people sad. I just call it out and be present with it, and then it's like a lot easier to like keep carrying the energy instead of disconnecting from the discomfort of doing a bad job. Like, be like, oh, I'll acknowledge that. Yet that didn't feel good, did it? You guys didn't like it either. Whoops. You know, and then you don't like lose. You can kind of keep people connected with you.
Connect.
Yeah.
I think that's like what I'm seeing, even like that good, bad, that concept even almost starts to disconnect us from nature. I don't really feel like nature has a good, bad. It could be a field of spiky plants and poison ivy, and to us be like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Because it's, for us, it is. We wouldn't want to crawl around in there, but there's
inconvenient, but that's not bad.
It's not bad or good. There's a whole bunch of creatures that are existing in there, and they're fine.
Yeah. We look at so many things through the lens of like, is it good or bad for humans? But that's not always the right question to be asking.
Well, I think it's even gone more of a disconnect to a level where higher powers that be are like, is it good for me? Not even so much for people. anymore.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
is it good for me and maybe some of my what I'm calling
friends.
my group, my Facebook group? Will it like kill that Facebook group, make it so they don't exist anymore? And it's like that.
Yeah, like, and those levels of power are what makes it easy to dehumanize other groups of people when you're like,
Good, bad.
Just dividing people into away from humanness. It makes it easy to be like, well, now I can disconnect from what I'm doing, what's happening, because now I've removed your humanity, and now I can kind of just, yeah,
my team's gonna win, whatever it takes. Yeah, I love being in America. We get so into our sports events, like with more passion than anything.
Yeah.
And it almost trains us for any kind of political issue or occurrence that's happening and to turn into like, who do you think's going to win?
Yeah. It's a fight. It's a battle.
We're going to make a pool. You want to throw 10 in on it? Yeah.
It does turn into a battle, which is not what any of it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like collaborative and like, I mean, you can look back in history and you see when like politicians actually respected each other as humans. And it was just like, I think my ideas are better for the furtherance of humanity. And they're like, I respect that, but I actually would like to respectfully disagree with 3 of those points. I think that we should do it this way. And it was just like an actual battle of like ideals and what you stood for. And like they, were often horrible, but they still actually stood for him at least. Like, goddamn, like have some kind of ideal. So what do you believe in? Nothing. Winning. You believe in winning.
Yeah.
Where like
we're gonna win.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. This is a funny idea, but I had this idea this morning about maybe running for president in 2024.
Oh yeah.
Because I haven't seen anybody to vote for yet, or I don't know. It just like seems like they need somebody, right?
They do.
I'm not trying to be
Something should be
egotistical or anything. I just feel like, like when you see a job that needs to be done and nobody's doing it, it's like, what do you do? Like,
yeah, man. I mean, and at this point, it's like, I think I could do a better job than somebody who blanks out. I think I would actually be able to be conscious.
Yeah.
And that seems like that's
like during the whole entire meeting. Presentation.
I'll pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll remember. I have a really good memory, actually.
Well, he's
and I'm good at public speaking. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, we're going to try to make it so that you get worse at this, right?
Yeah. So I can just like.
So if you were the president, you might have the capacity to become your worst comedian ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oof, in a dark.
Dang, that actually just gave me a whole new line of respect for our current president. Yeah. I saw a sign somewhere. It said, has anybody tried unplugging and replugging in the United States?
That's what it feels like it needs. And also kind of feels like that's what we're like headed towards, to be less like doom and gloom about it. I do think that like, I feel like things are shifting and people are just being more aware of the way that they treat each other and the way that they talk to themselves, and then, and moments of connection are happening more. And I think that's like, that's what we need. That's literally that's kind of, yeah.
I think it's beautiful, the things that are changing in the world, where there's becoming more space where people can authentically be themselves. I know in those spaces, sometimes there's even pressures to conform to a group and to be like this or that. But ultimately, that space and understanding of the space allows that. As you're understanding it, you might come into a space that's really safe and want to be like it and try to embrace what all those people have created. But eventually you'll crack through that and get to where you are just totally being yourself, and the community will be supporting that and seeing it. I often see wonderful examples from my childhood, you know, like the Muppets. They were really cool. There was a large squad. They hung out with each other. You know, Animal didn't even speak English, but they loved him, and they totally knew what he meant when he screamed. And then there's like Winnie the Pooh and the crew, you know, Christopher Robin. It's like there's this whole crew of characters, and they authentically are allowing each other to be who they are. And when Owl's house falls over, you know, they all show up for Owl. And like, you know, it's pretty cool. I like that kind of concept of existence and creating that safe space for people to not feel like they're living in a world like I have to do a 9 to 5 and I have to go to college and then I have to have babies before I turn this age and then I have to do this and then I have to do this and then I have to get my retirement set up and then I'll finally get to sit down and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, just spaces where it's very like come as you are hard to find. Again, that's kind of what brought me to the mic. That's what brought me to comedy, was that it is a safe container to kind of be yourself and to just just the spaces, you know, there, to have a purpose and to be like, okay, I'm going because I want to do the mic, you know, and I'm allowed to be there for that. Like, I'm not going to like, just cause I want to be super social or like have a great time. But like on that note, on the note of like community and people banding together with art, I am going to plug the little series that I have. We haven't even gotten the posters and stuff out yet, but for Lent at a venue called Commonwealth Sanctuary in Dayton, Kentucky. It's a converted church. It's an amazing room, and they're really cool people. For this, it's not exactly over Lent, but for 7 weeks during the period of Lent, we're going to have a show combining comedy and poetry about one of the different 7 deadly sins each week. So I think it's going to be really exciting because we're going to have like some vulnerable stuff and then some like heavy stuff, and it's going to be a safe container for like, you know, being very real. And the vibe of the show is that like, we're just going to kind of show you that nobody's a sinner or a super virtuous person. We all have both inside of us.
Wow. And that kind of really ties into a lot of our conversation too, that duality, good, bad, good.
What is
evil,
good and bad? There is,
sin,
I mean, it just is.
Virtue. Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I'm trying to bring. So I'm really excited. It's the first thing that I've like produced, and it's super nerve wracking to try and like make something really cool, but I'm really stoked. And I think that you should come. It's going to be every Wednesday at 7:00 from February 22nd to April 3rd.
Cool. In Dayton, Kentucky.
In Dayton, Kentucky
right
at Commonwealth Sanctuary. Bunch of comics, a different group every week. Different group of poets and comedians. I've had the privilege of meeting like so many talented people in Cincinnati. Cincinnati has so many amazing artists, and I've just been really excited to see that people are like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this show. You know? Yeah. So I'm super stoked to see what we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd love to see if somebody comes up with an 8th deadly sin or virtue, you know, or like that's a, you know, like, I don't know, maybe we could come up with that right now before we close out this show, you know, just like, let's make up a new sin. Anybody got any ideas here? Oh,
I mean, they really covered it.
Yeah.
When you think about the 7, which I've done a good amount lately, preparing
that,
for this show, I've been
it?
really like thinking it's going to be like a little bit heavy. Like it is going to be funny, but it's also like, you know, everybody exploring the theme of like, what does greed look like within me? You know, what does gluttony look like within me? You know, pride. Oh, that for me would be that's the one that I stick the most with, that I have the most trouble with, is pride.
Yeah. Cause like you know, in our culture right now, I feel like you can be like, hey, I'm really proud of you for putting together this 7 deadly sin and virtue project. But is that sinful for me to say that I'm proud of you? Because like, it's
my own pride, like that I struggle with. And
is it like come to the ego kind of realm?
Yeah, it just comes all back to the ego. You know, it comes back to like, it's hard for me to receive other people's pride because it's hard for me to have it for myself in a way that like, I'm not like, oh, you don't deserve that. You know, in a way where it's like, no, you actually do deserve that. And you should be proud of yourself for that. You know? Yeah. It's hard to have that balance of like, wait, am I being egotistical? Like, nope. That's just a sense of self you're having. You like yourself. That's
honestly, if you ask that question, you just did the check right there, and you're probably on the empathetic connecting with people realm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh God. I wish I could stop. It's so hard. Yep.
That's awesome. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to check out one of the Wednesday night shows, if not more of them.
Absolutely should. I think you would enjoy it.
Dayton, Kentucky. That's fun right there.
Yeah. It always confuses people. People have made so many jokes like, It's not Dayton, Ohio. It's
Right.
Dayton, Kentucky, which is a very small town. It's just over the river. It's like 10 minutes from Cincinnati. So,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. So
You can see the skyline from their front steps.
like near here is the Versailles State Park in a little town called Versailles, Indiana. And there's a Versailles, Kentucky, you know, and of course there's a Versailles, you know, the original.
Yeah, I drove
named
past
one.
like Florence. There was a couple others. I was thinking about that this morning as I was looking at the maps. Like there's so many, we've named so many small, like, you know, Paris, Ohio. And
maybe in
so
this-
many different little towns named after like grand cities.
Maybe in this little like reboot, we could like just like come up with new names for things. I know people don't always like that, but just allow people to rename places. And it's like, how long is New York going to be new? I mean, it's getting pretty old at this point. Right? It's like a couple hundred years old now. It's, you know, when's there
It'd be fun to rename some cities.
Where's the newest York? That's
Let's
what
make
I'm wondering.
it. Let's figure one out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've discovered everything though.
Right.
Yeah. Everything's been named and categorized.
Right. So we'll just maybe I bet the guy who's the poorest person in the world is probably in the newest York. And it's probably like there's a whole conspiracy probably show out there somewhere about that. I'll have to, you know, there's so much more to explore.
There's
I
so
really
much more to
appreciate-
explore.
Oh my God, I appreciate you so much, Sharon.
you.
And you're so fun to talk with. And
This was
funny
super
and-
fun. I love this.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, we'll see what deadly sins and virtues do.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bang. Wake the farm up, yeah. You know?
Yo, wake the farm up.
You